Heartbreak is turning to anger for some people in Melbourne whose homes are flooded. They're blaming the wall next to Flemington Racecourse. The track's been kept dry while houses are underwater.
I think that people's lives are worth more than the horse race, even 15 horse races. Their lives are in the streets right now.
Like they've saved their racecourse. It's just land. It's just a racecourse. It's just a race. And people around here have lost everything.
That's the wall, and that's the wall of water that came for house after house along Melbourne's Maribyrnong River. As floodwaters surged across the northwestern suburbs on Friday, a natural floodplain right in the middle of it stayed dry. The Flemington Racecourse, a bright green, grassy haven, unaffected by some of the worst flooding in a generation.
It's the first time I've seen it. It's the first time it's been on my property.
Ken Lee lived through the 1974 and 1993 floods in the area and says he's never seen anything like this.
It's a retaining wall. We didn't get flooded before that, neither did this street.
This is the controversial wall that protects the race that stops the nation. Standing 2.5 metres tall, it's a wall local residents want to see pulled down to protect them.
They should pull it down.
I'd like to see them pull it down, yeah.
The track was surrounded by water. Pontoons were seen washing down the river beside the home of the Melbourne Cup. Sandbags didn't stand a chance for some who were up against the Great Wall.
It was like a lake through there, and I thought, yeah, it's on.
The wall loops the course and was erected in 2007 to save one of Australia's richest races from being cancelled in the case of a 1 in 50-year flood. The wall getting the go-ahead despite fierce opposition from Maribyrnong families who tried to stop it. All of them fearful floodwaters would get redirected onto their doorsteps. And locals say it's done exactly that.
The engineers did a great job because the Flemington Racecourse did not get flooded. Woohoo! Let's all go and cheer for the horses. I don't think so.
Darlene says she's lived on the Maribyrnong River for 44 years.
I think that it's made a massive difference. Should not have been erected. I am furious.
Speaking with The Current Affair, Carbone Lawyers revealed it's working on a class action on behalf of affected residents who are now left to clean up the mess.
A lot of people have lost a lot of money. At the moment, there are more than 50 houses that are closed and condemned, and we have people now living elsewhere.
Lawyer John Carancis says he has Flemington and the Victoria Racing Club in his sights.
It's early days, however, Carbone Lawyers are investigating the potential for a class action.
According to experts, this was bound to happen.
Well, they knew that annexing about 1.2 million cubic metres of floodwater off the river meant it had to go somewhere.
Hydrology and flood warning expert Jeff Crapper spent 31 years working at Melbourne Water. He says issues he'd raised nearly 20 years ago weren't taken seriously.
I warned the government that they needed to do something about the flooding at Maribyrnong. It was always going to happen again. It was just a matter of when.
And as for the dozens of retirees mopping up their lounge rooms in this Avondale Heights retirement village,
total stuff-up comes to mind. It's a total failure of Melbourne Water. And I think that's probably the biggest story of the floods.
Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews today backed a review into the wall by Melbourne Water.
I've got confidence in them, and we'll get those reports back and then we can make assessments at that point.
But not everyone's convinced.
Well, it should be a independent review. I'm not convinced Melbourne Water have the authority to do that.
Victoria Racing Club CEO Steve Rossich says the club will fully cooperate with Melbourne Water as it conducts its review.
People around here have lost everything. They've lost everything.
It's just wrong. That is a floodplain, and that's where the water goes.